Yo, bottom half Turkish get-ups. We're talking about one of the best moves you can absolutely do to bulletproof the shoulders. You're working shoulder extension on the down hand, shoulder flexion on the top hand, focusing on keeping everything depressed and tight. We're actually moving laterally, so we're involving core, obliques, and again, cementing in the good mechanics we want to talk about. The key focus here is you want to always keep the shoulders away from the ears on both hands. Both arms are active, even though one dumbbell is only in one hand. Both arms are active the whole way. 90 seconds total each side. You can always start body weight or start light. The big focus is on the weighted hand, all right? So I get set up here. You gotta see this? You've gotta let the weight sink and centrate the humeral head of your shoulder into the capsule itself. You want to actually to kind of slide back, let the weight sink into it, and really stack it down. That's the key, while keeping this arm straight. So you go as light as you have to go to do that. I don't want the elbow bent, and I don't want the shoulder here. Let it pack and sink down and back. It's actually really important for shoulder health, this movement, especially when you do it right. So arm is about, let's say, 30 to 45 degrees away from the trunk. I'm going to stack it. Left leg is bent, right leg is straight. I'm gonna translate over onto my right forearm. Eyes are looking at the bell, again, everything's tight. Push right through to extension. Pause it briefly, own the movement. Return to the forearm, return to the upper back. And I'm gonna keep repeating that pattern for 90 seconds and immediately switch sides and repeat. You could switch which side you start with. Again, it's kind of tough to say which side is the weak side because, again, both shoulders and arms are active. But slow, steady, like right there in particular, when we go from this position back down, that's bad, right? It's got to be slow and smooth. Pause at each point the entire time. See how I finish nice and tight. Lower, control, and keep repeating that pattern. Again, it's a quick switch. The reason I'm going to have you go with the dumbbell instead of a kettlebell, the switches are a lot quicker, and especially because we want to get 90 seconds each side. You can see how my right shoulder is going to be more, it is always more prone to wanting to come off the ground. So again, get in position, centrate it, let the weight pull it down, lock it in, and then I start to go to work on the other side. All right? Get some. Yo, this shoulder complex is a classic. I first did it back in college, loved it so much, and some variation of it has followed me since then. It develops all three heads of the shoulders, really strengthens the entire backside as well, especially in the first position. We're gonna go from a move that gets more posterior shoulder, then we go to more medial lateral shoulder, then more front anterior delt. So we're getting through all three heads of the delt complex, but the big focus, and again, is mind-muscle connection. When I did this last, I did just with a pair of 20s, 20 reps in each movement, back to back to back, minute 1, minute 2, minute 3, okay? So you can also go, initially maybe 40-20, 50-10. The goal is to pick a weight that allows you to get the mind-muscle connection, not strain, right? I mean, you can always go really heavy on this. I see this all the time. All right, I mean, you save the heavy loads for the multi-joint movements. For the single joint isolation, we're trying to get the mind-muscle connection, own the movement, and get pump and burn. No pain, no spastic movement. So we start here, move 1, we're gonna go palms facing, flat back, head in line with spine, slight bend in the elbows, and then raise up, squeeze, cracking up between the shoulder blades. Squeeze, cracking up between the shoulder blades. Focus on pulling with the elbows, not the hands. That's how you really get that posterior shoulder contraction and really delt contraction in all these. Then we go minute 2, lateral raises. Now you can do these with one thing to note, some EMG research, muscle activation research shows when you get that thumb slightly up at the top, you get a little more medial head activation. You could also use a slight hinge and not have to worry about the pinky and get more medial head activation. Honestly, I like just a classic version like this. It's really up to you. Play around with what feels best. I'll show again all three options. Kind of the classic option right here. I like to get my feet close so I can get full range. Raise up, hold, control down. All right? More pinky up. You can emphasize, again, that is in research shown to get more medial delt activation. But if I also use the slight hip hinge, that can also get it more too. Honestly, because we did the reverse flies, I'm gonna prefer you be more upright on these lateral raises. But again, that's minute 2. Control it down. Again, we're not going crazy with it, go light. Minute 3, anterior delt, we're gonna go thumbs up, hammer grip, Again, slight bend in the elbow, not too much bend, not necessarily totally straight unless you have really light weights. 5 or 10s, I would go totally straight arms. So again, the straight arm position makes heavyweight feel light. Locked in, raise, hold, control. Also great core movement because anytime you reach load in front of your body, core is very active. And in all 3 variations, the last two in particular, no need to go any higher than shoulder level. That's where you can risk impingement for those that have that issue, and muscle activation is maximized right at that shoulder level. Crazy delt pump, get ready. This next combination is another where mobility meets muscle. We're doing 2 minutes of slow eccentric isometric, 3 to 4 seconds down, 1 to 2 second pause in the stretch position with a dumbbell pullover with the upper back and head on the bench to extend the range of motion. Also get the glutes going, core, and then we go into a final minute of normal tempo, partial range of motion, chest supported rows on the bench. So you want to have your dumbbells ready. I used a 50-pound dumbbell for the pullovers and a pair of 25s for the rows. So again, in general, go lighter than you would normally. These are longer sets, more time and your attention, more focus. You can always go heavier from round to round or workout to workout, but I don't want you having to only get a couple reps and do a lot of pausing. You'll lose the effect of this workout. Go lighter, trust me. All right, so this first movement is, again, really help improve the shoulder mobility. The big focus is, as always, you gotta listen to your body. When we do the pullover, we're gonna kind of make a diamond shape, pressed into the inside portion of the bell. So you need a bell that's thick enough that allows you to get like this and kind of the, that's also the Hova shape, right? For those that are from New York. Hova, right? Jay-Z? I think so, anyway. But yeah, that's how I want to get locked in. You want a slight bend in the elbows. Naomi is literally from the Bronx and she couldn't answer that question. I'm very disappointed. So you want to get locked in here, slight bend, and don't force the range of motion. Part of why we're going slow and light is even if you find yourself in a precarious position, you can quickly stop the movement, terminate the movement at that point and not force it. If we go really fast and out of control, like you see a lot of people do pullovers, you can really hurt your shoulders. So again, not really as many bad exercises as badly executed. So we get locked in. I'm gonna get positioned here. I want the head supported because we're going 2 minutes here. So I don't want the neck to be an issue. I'm gonna give you a full glute bridge, squeeze my glutes, crunch my abs, maintain that position, and then here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold for 1, 2, bring it back. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold for 1, 2, bring it back. So even though my elbows are bent, I'm not changing the elbow position at all during the set. It's locked in that bend, just like when you do a single leg hip hinge, the knee is flexed, but it's locked in that flex position and not moving, so all the motion is through the hip, now all the motion is through the shoulder. So big stretch in the lats, big contraction, get that mind-muscle connection going. 2 minutes of that, and then as quickly as you can. Again, it's not gonna be a perfect minute, but try to at least get 40 to 50 seconds, you know, as small of a transition as possible to this, and having the dumbbells ready is helpful too. If you really want to take any sort of, you know, momentum out of the movement, go like this. Just get here, and then all we do is, it's partial because the bench will never be high enough, especially if you have longer arms to get full range, so we can really just dial in that top 3/4 or top half of the movement, and don't over pull. We want about a 90-degree bend in the arms. Chest is up, glutes are tight. Squeeze, control, all right, and then if you really need the support, you can just drop the feet, and you might even need that towards later rounds or halfway into the set in order to continue, but you've got an option that way. But really, you take a lot of the danger with many back movements, particularly bent over rows where it's swinging, you're overly loaded, your spine is flexed. We're really taking the spine out of the equation and emphasizing and focusing upper mid back, posterior shoulder, lats. This 3-minute back stack will smoke that ass.
We're back.
Yo, this is where corrective meets chesticles gains. So we're gonna take a foam roller, half roller will work. A long roller might be better for some of you. You're gonna place this at least on the uppermost portions of your spine. Cervical, which is neck, and thoracic, upper mid back. And what that's gonna allow us to do is a couple things here. We get, allow the scapula actually to move more freely and get full range of motion. A lot of you have like scapula that are stuck and winged down, and that's going to cause shoulder issues. If you do it on a bench, the scapula get matted down and can't move. So this actually allows that freedom of movement. It also, you'll be in this position for 3 straight minutes. It mobilizes the upper back. If you're in a rounded posture position, this is actually going to take pressure into the spine, especially under load, and allow your upper back to kind of melt over the roller and improve mobility while you do it. Beyond the fact it's gonna force you to go lighter, I can press out and rep out a 100-pound dumbbell on presses with a really stable environment, but with this, I went down to a 50. So again, in general, cut the load in half, go twice as long. That's where a lot of gains will be sparked, especially if you have a history of pain and injury. So I'm gonna get locked in here. Your core will also be more active than normal. Just position myself. I can have the dumbbell right here and kind of roll over from a fetal position onto it. So I'm gonna just kind of show you here. What's up? All right. So I'm here, I'm locked in. We're gonna go palm facing, neutral grip. Other hand can be on the hip. And again, we're not making sure we're not like bridging up here, but just because of that lateral instability of the roller, core is gonna be on big time, especially for 3 straight minutes. All right, elbows tight to the side. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2. What I like about it too is you can't overextend on that shoulder because that floor stops you, and then press up. And again, just like we talked about with the get-ups, active shoulder, right? Keep it packed down and back. Don't let it come up or out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, up. And then 90 seconds in, you just switch sides and repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 2, up. Repeat that pattern, and then you're done. And again, I really want you to focus on getting the stretch, owning the movement. Start weak side first and then switch. But again, it's amazing when you pick the right movements, especially early on in this program, and trying to get that body, trying to fix up a lot of the compensations, dysfunctions you've got going on while still getting the gains. And you'll notice, especially later on in the program, we go to more heavy, stable presses, you'll be so much stronger and stable. And your joints, most importantly, will be supple and ready for the task at hand. Get it. Yo, this is one of my favorite arm and shoulder complexes. They call it the arm and hammer complex. We're gonna do it actually in a very corrective position too. From a split kneel, you'll do 3 minutes total of this complex, max reps per time, trying to never let the dumbbells down if you can. And you do the first 90 seconds with the left leg forward or whatever side forward you need more of a stretch on. Pull the ribs and shoulders down, kind of zip it up. And also while you're down here too, I want you to emphasize pulling the heel towards your hip and kind of pulling the legs together to, again, really get the tension and opening up. This also puts your spine in a better position, so when we do the overhead work, you're less likely to extend to the low back. So mobility package into the lower body as we do this work. Here it is, the movement. It's a complex, meaning multiple movements combined into one that you do for time. So elbows tied to the side, hammer curl to overhead press to overhead tricep extension. Don't lose the abdominal crunch. Keep the ribs, shoulders down, back glute engaged so we get that hip flexor stretch going. All right, and the limiting movement is the overhead tricep extension. So you pick a load that allows you to effectively do that. You'll be fine on the other 2 movements, so they're gonna get challenging too as we go. In 3 minutes of total time and attention to the upper body, the core. I use a pair of 25s in this, and I just try to stay in motion. When you rest here, all right? Keep tension in the system. Crazy arm pump, but light loads go a long way.